Hey guys, welcome to the channel IT Simplified. In today's video on Azure, I will show you how to deploy a single database in the PaaS platform in Azure. So let's get started. From your main page on the Azure subscription, go to create a resource and do a quick search by typing SQL database. Pick that and select SQL database. You get a brief summary. You can read through this and click on create. So in this plate we need to specify certain settings, starting with the database name. I'm going to name it ITS, which is short form for IT Simplified. If you don't have a resource group, you need to deploy this in resource group because everything is compiled under that. I'm going to name it database resource group and click OK. And under select source, you have the option of blank database, sample, or backup. Sample is for test and dev kind of environment, so it's AdventureWorks, which everybody knows. If you already have a backup, you can also use that and specify and create, but in our case it's going to be a blank database because we are creating everything from the scratch. And even though it is a PaaS offering, there is still a server or a VM which is configured in the background or spun up in the Azure data center. So that is what is configured required setting under server, and it is asking for the name for the server. I'm going to name it IT Simplified, and it has to be a unique name. So if you don't get the green check mark, you might need to change that. In my case, it is available, so that's good. And then I need to specify the server admin login, which is like a system admin for SQL, and the credential for that. The password has to be as per the Microsoft standard. Okay. Deploy this in the location and click on select. And now it is asking, do you want to configure the elastic pool or a single database? So as I explained last time, that when we're deploying SQL Server under the PaaS, you have the option of deploying under single database, elastic pool, and managed instance. But in our case, we are deploying single database, so we'll leave that to the default. Otherwise, if you want to deploy the elastic pool, you can go to yes. But in our case, it is a single database, and you need to be careful when it comes to the pricing tier, and I explained that in detail in my last video, what are the differences. But just to refresh, when you deploy your Azure in SQL database, you have the option of choosing from DTUs or the vCore. For our demonstration, I'm going to use DTUs, which stand for Database Transactional Unit, and in that you have three tier. You have a basic, you have a standard, and you have a premium, which is basically a combination of your compute power. The only thing to remember here is that for basic, you can have a maximum database size of 2 gig. Standard, depending upon what service tier you choose, there are different service tier, and as you can see, if I move this up, you can go up to 1 terabyte. That's the maximum database size in standard, and in premium the maximum database size is 4 terabytes. So if I increase this bar, you can see that the maximum database size you can go is 4 terabyte. But this we are doing for the testing purpose, so the basic tier is okay, and I'm using DTUs, which is database transactional unit, not the vCore, which is another model in case you want to deploy this in this category, and click on apply. Collation, you can leave that to the default. In 99.9% of the time, that should do the job for you, and you click on create. So it is validating, and as you can see that the deployment is in progress, If I increase this notification, expand this notification, you will see that the deployment is in progress. And if you want to go further into detail, I can just click into this and you can see that it is compiling all the information. So we'll just wait for this to complete. Also, on a side note, I've also installed the SQL Server Management Studio on my laptop. This is how we'll be connecting to our single database, which is getting spun up in Azure. So if you don't have, I'll highly recommend that at this point you can deploy the SQL Server Management Studio. This is 2017 to be exact, that I have downloaded, which is free from the Microsoft site that you can deploy. Okay, so as you can see that the deployment has succeeded. My SQL database is there, my SQL Server is also there. So what I want to do now is, the good thing is that, Microsoft I think has done a great job, is now this database is highly secure. Now if I try to connect to this database, I won't be able to, because by default the traffic is blocked. And because, as you know, that database is very important for any company, because that is where all the information is stored. So Microsoft will make sure that this database is highly secure. So what we want to do is, in order I want to connect this database through my computer, I can go to the IT Simplified, the server, and if you scroll down under security, you can go to firewalls and virtual network. And here you can see this my public facing IP address, the client IP. I need to add this client IP in this window, so that I'm able to connect from my personal laptop to this SQL database. Now you can also create a rule over here. You can also add a subnet in which you can have a start and end IP. So the whole subnet range, you'll be able to connect to the SQL database. But in our case, this IP address is enough, so I can just go to plus add client IP and click on save. So this IP address was added successfully, so we should be good. Now if I go into the properties, you will see that this is the name of my server. So you can just copy this and go to the SQL Server Management Studio, go to connect and go to database engine, and you can put the server name here and use the login credential that we used to create the single database, and click on connect. Okay, so I have successfully connected this, and if I expand my database, you will see that the database with the name ITS has appeared over here. So we were successful in getting the connection. So this is a fresh install, there is no tables and there is nothing that we have configured. But as you can see that how simple it was to deploy this SQL database in the PaaS offering within the Azure portal. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.